LAMP is night vision on your ships. We've seen it. We've experimented with it. It came in with 4.6. It was a little bit of a surprise, but at the same time, it has been asked for years. And we went over this. I have a video on Space Tomato 2 where we go over every time the community went over this from 2019 to now, and it's like multiple, it's at least 6 times, different times where they've asked the question. So finally, Star Citizen got it in the game. LAMP came in for a select number of ships in 4.6. So, like, obviously, the first question everybody has after that is, when do the rest of the ships get an update? We've been waiting for this for forever. It kind of sucks to see other ships get it and not ours. Welcome to Star Citizen. So, the question got asked on Spectrum, and a Spectrum MVP, one who we don't see too often come on, John Crewe, gave a nice long answer. So, we're going to read the question and then see what he has to say, and hopefully we all get some info from it. I hope you enjoy this little dive into the news. We do this every day, particularly live here on stream, twitch.tv//Space Tomato Gaming. I think I've never actually done this pitch before, so bear with me. Come join us live. It's good times. And if you don't, I hope you enjoy the video. First question here. Why did LAMP stop getting added to ships? Even the phrasing is funny, because it's only been one patch. In 4.7, no ships have LAMP. LAMP is really cool. I was very much looking forward to it on my Guardian. Why isn't the Guardian getting it in 4.7 along with all or at least some of the other ships missing it? When will it get LAMP? Why would the devs working on this get retasked when the job's not done? Where is LAMP? Ah! Okay. I agree though. Like I want LAMP to come to my ship too. I know that the ship team is freaking really widely split and they might not get this stuff, but we'll see what the official reason is. John Crewe said, "Hi all. I wanted to provide a bit more context around why LAMP hasn't yet appeared across more ships. Due to the way vehicles are built in Star Citizen, canopies typically consist of 2 panes of glass, an interior-facing pane and an exterior-facing pane. As you may have noticed, LAMP operates on the interior pane only, which means the effect is visible to players inside the cockpit looking outward when these ships are authored." Wait, doesn't it kind of work outward looking inward? I guess it's a different effect. When ships are authored, there are 2 slightly different workflows for how the canopy and interior glass are set up depending on the ship. First, animated canopies. If the canopy needs to animate, the interior glass pane must be attached to the canopy itself, which is part of the vehicle's exterior asset. That makes sense. Talking about things like the Raven, the Arrow, even like the Furies, and I think the Gladius also, yeah, has a movement up there. So anything where the glass has to move with the ship, essentially. Then there's static canopies. If the canopy does not animate, the interior glass pane can instead be placed within the interior object container, meaning it is functionally separate from the exterior asset. This has always been easier for them. This actually... there was a point where this was a huge problem for... I want to say it was the Hull series, in that one of the big things they had to do to get the Hull series to work was when it transformed, you're essentially making the interior parts of the ship become exterior parts. So they have to have their own physics grids that can be stored in the interior, but also expanded into the exterior. And they had like a whole, it was a confusing matter. But this idea of where an object is and what object container it's connected to has actually been a really big struggle. Not in the sense that it's caused a lot of glitches and stuff over the years, but in the sense that it's popped up a lot. I think it's one of the more novel things they actually figured out with the game, so it makes sense. Being able to have spaceships that have both an interior and an exterior that are seamless, that can be interacted with from either direction in a multitude of ways, is one of the more complex parts of this engine, I think, that allows them to have a little bit of a better ship experience than other games. So he continues with his answer here and says, "When LAMP was initially planned, the intention was to roll it out to the 10 most used single-seat ships. With support from the game code and graphics team, we were able to automate much of the setup for ships that fall into the first category. As a result, those ships were relatively straightforward to support." Okay, so the animated canopies were easier for them then. They said ships in the second category are more complex because the interior glass is not linked to the exterior canopy. The plot. LAMP cannot currently be applied using the same approach. We have raised work with the relevant teams to support this case, but the timing will depend on their broader priorities and scheduling. The positive news is that the potential path forward has been identified. We already have other systems that link similar assets, such as the canopy, rain and snow effects, which will hopefully provide a framework to extend LAMP more broadly. We did also explore an interim approach that would involve separating the interior glass pane and reattaching it to the exterior asset. However, applying this change across the remaining ships would require a significant amount of art and design time, as well as the potential for introducing further issues such as undesired wear on interior glass panes. For that reason, a code-based solution is likely to be the cleaner and more sustainable approach in the long term. The idea of doing a systemic approach that lasts for good is obviously the better choice. But I think the real frustration people have is hidden in here. We'll come back to that. We're looking forward to getting the rest of your ship lineup up to date with LAMP functionality, and we'll keep you in the loop as we progress. A good explanation, a full explanation from the person who would know about it, and like it's about as good as it gets if you're going to ask a question about why isn't this thing happening. He told us why it's not happening. He told us the problems that they faced and what they're doing to try and fix it. The problem comes in with the whole what they're doing to try and fix it part. We've been, like I said in the beginning of this, people have been waiting for LAMP for a long time. I said that we went over that whole thing, but I'm just going to pull it up real quick just to show you. Like this, here's one question. This is one time somebody asked it. God knows when this was, but that's one instance. Here's another instance somebody asked it. This is the UI team. Another instance with the gameplay team again, first-person features. Another instance with the graphics editor, probably around 2021, 22 or so. Another instance with the graphics team. There's Sylvan. He does a lot of the VR stuff we just talked about earlier today. This is in 2022. And then here, earlier, I think this year. It's definitely one of the longest running and most requested features, quality of life features, not big features like planets or something, but the kind of features that make the game easier for people to play in times when you're just running into the side of the planet. It's so frustrating to fly in the dark. So for a lot of folks, it sucks to finally see it arrive, and then the next patch it kind of stops happening, and now we get an answer and they're basically like, hey, so it's just not gonna work how we were doing it, at least not until we can clean things up a little bit more. And it's more of the same. We've raised the work, the team knows, it's on the list, but it's all about priorities. If you have any sort of question about Star Citizen or Squadron 42 or why something's happening, it's priorities. It's always priorities, right? It's this either needs to be in Squadron, or it was in Squadron, now it needs to be fixed for Star Citizen, but we can't do that because we're working on something else for Star Citizen. I'm not saying that's a problem. I'm saying that it is more often than not the answer, and it's probably the kind of thing that you should know if you're getting into Star Citizen that will get a bit frustrating. You might be excited for a feature, that feature comes out, and then they just don't touch it for a while because they have other priorities they need to work on. I could name so many things just off the top of my head this has happened with, from docking to ship naming to refueling to the freaking mounted guns outside of bunkers. I do think that we are still dealing with a different company now than we were a few years ago. And I expect to see some LAMP stuff still coming into the game, especially I guess for any animated canopies and the smaller ships. Sometimes it catches you off guard, man. It's actually the static canopies that are more difficult. Either way, there's your update on LAMP and what's going on with night vision for ships. Priorities. We'll see when it gets worked on again. Hope you enjoyed.